This is episode 56 of the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast with Josh Lloyd, CTO of FitMetrix.
We had to start integrating with other systems like ABC Financial and Club Ready and so forth. That just opened up a whole opportunity to realize that while those systems are fantastic at what they do when it comes to helping the club run their business, they're not geared toward focus on the member. So for us, what that meant was, what can we be doing outside of just booking a class, outside of what's happening in the studio, but what are the other opportunities that presents to engage with the member? Can we use technology and leverage that to get people to feel excited about showing up? Can they feel excited that they're in a sort of a team environment, whether they like to work out on their own or in a small group setting or in a large group? Just give them those tools to be able to do that.
Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. I am your host, Josh Trent, and this is your number one trusted resource for the accelerating world of fitness technology. Each week, we bring you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You'll gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse of what matters most for your fitness business in the age of exponential technologies. For episode 56, we're learning and growing from the CTO of FitMetrix, Josh Lloyd, about using technology for the member to win. Now, this is something that we explore quite a bit on the show, but this is a deeper discussion where we're learning from Josh about the strategy and tools that will connect the sometimes disparate technology silos inside and outside the club so they can be connected together. In this podcast, we're talking about not only how to use technology to advance and up-level the customer experience, but also how to incentivize healthy living through data points collected via gamification and that relationship to smart push notifications sent to members. FitMetrix was founded in 2013 to solve a need around group training, but has now evolved to a more robust platform that does much more by bringing in best practices from outside the fitness industry. FitMetrix has significant technical experience and believes customer service is the most critical path to success. But with technology racing ahead faster than ever before, what are the smart data sets that club owners and operators can piece together in tracking solutions designed to increase member retention while giving their clients better results? The answer to that question and much more takeaways for owners, operators, and fitness pros in this episode with Josh Lloyd. Josh Lloyd is the co-founder and CTO of FitMetrix, which provides state-of-the-art tech to gyms and health clubs to give members the ability to schedule, train, and receive real-time tracking of effort and performance through a facility's website or customizable app. FitMetrix has partnered with hundreds of gyms across the nation, including Lifetime, Gold's, Cycle Bar, Cooper Institute, US Fitness, and more. Prior to founding the company, Josh was the co-founder and visionary of Shop Visible, which provided business owners with smart tech that combines solutions for customer service, back office inventory, and anything else you could imagine that helps to run a business. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Josh.
We're talking today about something that we all want to have in this industry, and that is, how do we use technology for the member to win? Your company, FitMetrix. For people that haven't heard of your company, Josh, what is FitMetrix? What does it do?
FitMetrix is all about the member. So, we believe that creating a rich experience for the member, whether they're inside of the gym or whether they're learning more about the brand on the website or potentially using the mobile app, is an opportunity to touch that customer in a way that can be meaningful and make sure that they feel that they're part of a community. So we do that through a bunch of different parts of our technology, and we can certainly get into that.
The company got started, I think it was 2013, right? You and your co-founder. As the CTO, what would you say is your most exciting edge that you practice? In other words, is there something that you really lean into on a daily basis for your own growth being a leader?
Yeah, so from a technology perspective, I'm kind of a rare CTO, if you will, because I obviously love the CTO side of things and the technology and the infrastructure and scale and all of those things. But I also love talking to customers and understanding what their needs are. So I would say our edge or the thing that gets me most excited when I wake up during the day is understanding from our customers how they're engaging with their members on a daily basis, how that can be different, how it can be more efficient and help, with retention. And so being able to take that information, bringing it back to share with Monica, my co-founder, and understand how we can leverage our platform, our technology to not only help our customer, but then realize how we can then scale that across multiple customers.
Yeah, but you did not start life as a CTO. You actually came from the auto industry. Your dad was successful there. How did you go from helping your dad work on cars, fly planes, and then end up in the fitness space?
So it's very interesting. That was a long time ago for sure. But yeah, my dad was in the car business for my whole life, basically. When I was a kid, a lot of my friends were going to summer camp. I think I was about 13 or 14. He's like, awesome, you're going to come work on the lot, and I'm going to teach you how to paint cars. That's how I started, and kind of graduated from that and learned how to sell cars. And that was certainly fun. I did that for a long time, actually, in high school and during college. Was pretty successful at that. I had kind of my first entrepreneurial hat on selling cars and doing pretty well with it. But I always was into technology as a kid, loved, the gaming systems and had a Commodore 64 way back in the day. And so being able to figure out that there's an opportunity to make money leveraging technology was super cool. And, that's when I really started off. And as far as fitness goes, I'm pretty fortunate, actually. My dad has always worked out since I was a kid. As a matter of fact, I think he competed in some different Gold's Gym bodybuilding competitions back in the early 70s. And so I got to see that when I was growing up, and we had a gym in the house. And I've been working out probably since I was 12 or 13 years old. And it was just really brought up that working out is just a lifestyle. Like, that's just how you do things. And so, getting to move on in my life and after having a successful exit from Shop Visible, I was very fortunate to meet Monica and understand what she was trying to accomplish from a business perspective and what she was looking to do in terms of opening up a boutique fitness studio here in Atlanta. I was able to kind of understand what she was trying to do and realize there was a pretty nice opportunity to start building technology around it. So for me, I got to sort of marry the two things that I was super passionate about, technology and fitness as a lifestyle.
So in 2013, what did you start out with as far as service to the members and the facilities, and how has that transformed as we look at 4 years later?
Yeah, great question. So in 2013, when Monica and I met, we started to talk about, well, what will FitMetrix be? What do we envision? At the time, we really didn't know how big our box, so to speak, was going to be. We really looked at it more as creating live gamified experiences in cycling classes, and then in different group fitness type classes, primarily, frankly, focused around boutique fitness studios. And when we started to sort of peel back the layer of that onion a little bit, we realized that in order for that to be interesting and powerful and different, I would say, than other solutions that were available in the marketplace, the big thing for us was integrating with the back office club management systems. So we started off integrating with MindBody pretty much from the first day, focused on building out a very nice website experience for the member to easily be able to book a class, pick which bike that they would like to sit on, and then come into the studio, be able to check in on that bike that they had selected, start riding the bike, and have their data pop up on the screen. So it was a little bit of a happy accident, to be totally honest with you, because we needed the cycling data, and we needed to know who it belonged to. And so we needed to know who was on that bike. And when we realized that MindBody didn't have that capability in their own platform, we started to realize, wait, this is a pretty interesting opportunity. Cycling is starting to boom at the time. So that's where we started. As we grew up and grew out of cycling and running other types of fitness classes, we started to get into different types of operations besides boutique fitness studios. So for instance, we got into, sort of your, how do they call them? Your low cost, high value type operations where there's not going to be that staff that might be on site, but they still want to leverage heart rate training, or more of a higher end, club. And they want to make this part of an experience that they may be able to leverage to get more money for certain membership levels to use. So as we started to do that, we had to start integrating with other systems like ABC Financial and Club Ready and so forth. And that just opened up a whole opportunity to realize that while those systems are fantastic at what they do when it comes to helping the club run their business, they're not geared toward focus on the member. So for us, what that meant was, what can we be doing outside of just booking a class, outside of what's happening in the studio, but what are the other opportunities that presents to engage with the member? And then frankly, with that club, help them to more optimally operate their group fitness classes.
One of the things I see about FitMetrix is the one singular mission in mind. It's really about helping clients utilize the data, the smart data, to help with retention and, see real results. I mean, I think we're all here in this business to get people healthy. I think that can get clouded, Josh, sometimes. So when we see data sets, how do you do this with FitMetrix? Using everything from fitness, health, biometrics, this consolidation allows the fitness clubs and companies and, possibly insurance providers, a 360-degree view of a user's overall health and wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, over the long term, that 360-degree view is where we see our future. Right now, we're very focused on making sure that member that's interacting with our platform has access to their data. And not only do they have access to their data, but they have access to their data through the gym or the studio that they work out with. So it becomes very sticky for them with their club that they're with. Now, what happens is we can get data from heart rate monitors. We can get data from the spin bikes that I mentioned earlier. We can get data from rowers. We can get data from treadmills. We can get just general gym check-ins. We can get other types of data that just about their activity. They can even manually enter to say, hey, I did this today. We can collect weight loss information. We can collect body composition changes. So all of a sudden you have all this really rich data set about this member, and it's within that, brand. And so it becomes very sticky for that member to say, well, how am I doing? Now, the guys that do this really well, they're putting up, different challenges and leaderboards. They're making those members aware of what's going on. They're getting them more involved in it and getting them excited about their journey, their own fitness journeys. They're very good on social media about leveraging this data to sort of broadcast to the world. They're having their members become their evangelists really for all of this stuff. And it's just it's super exciting to see. It just creates this whole ecosystem where you just start off with the fact that, hey, that's pretty cool. Like, Josh went and worked out and he burnt this many calories and he did this stuff. And then all of a sudden you're able to say, well, how did he do relative to the other people that are his age? Or how did he do against all the people at this club or all of my clubs? And how do I create competition around that that's healthy, not overwhelming, but sort of healthy that, like, I get it. Like, I'm working out, I'm seeing results, my body is changing, I can measurably see that, and I'm going to keep coming back because now I'm hooked on it.
The gamified experience, we talked about this a lot on different episodes. We'll link those in the show notes today, but I think about gamification from a wearable, but can also come from many other sectors. It doesn't have to be gamification only from a wearable. How do you see gamification growing? What's your definition of that now as we see it change so quickly here, Josh? How would you define it personally?
Yeah, so we, for us, probably what you said is really accurate. At the beginning for us, it was all like, hey, let's gamify the experience against wearable technology, which I still think is super important, and the accuracy of that and what it can mean to the member. But it really does go beyond that. So being able to just say, hey, we can help these people that don't come to the gym every day. Just show up 10 times this month. I'm going to give you a t-shirt. And along the way of those 10 times that you're showing up, I'm also going to remind you how close you are and keep pushing and motivating you. Or, use back-end analytics that we have around what you're doing to be able to send you sort of motivational feedback via email, push notifications via the app, those types of things. Or maybe you fell off the wagon a little bit, and how can we help you kind of get back on and understand that? So I think it's really, for us at the end of the day, it's leveraging the data that we have and then being able to put that to the benefit of the member to keep them engaged and keep them coming back. I used to have this expression. Somebody asked me a long time ago, like, hey, Josh, you're in great shape. Like, how do you, stay motivated? What's your routine? And I said, honestly, it's just showing up. Like, just get there and show up. And not everybody is, unfortunately, self-motivated to do that. And so can we use technology and leverage that to get people to feel excited about showing up? Can they feel excited that they're in a sort of a team environment, whether they like to work out on their own or in a small group setting or in a large group? just give them those tools to be able to do that.
We look at these data sets too. Let's shift gears here because data goes so deep and so wide in our industry. We obviously have the in-club data, running, cycling, heart rate, things like this. We have the outside club data as well, though. How do we blend these two? Does FitMetrix address this, the in-club data, the out-club data, and then, a tangible pathway for the customer journey?
In the club, obviously, we know about things like their gym check-ins, and we know about, how many classes they've taken. We know within those classes, how well are they performing? But when they're not in the club and they're on the road, maybe they're traveling, I can speak for myself when it comes to this. It's so hard to maintain your routine when you're on the road. And if you can have an app that you can, throw on that wearable device, or perhaps you're just going to play a pickup basketball game and you can, manually enter what you did into that app so you can see those results combined with what's happening in the club, you start to be able to create a picture of, how often you're working out, even if you're not there. And that's okay for the brand. Right now, that brand is bringing value to that member, even when they're not within the four walls of their clubs. So I have all this data. The gym can then leverage that to say, hey, let's create a monthly challenge of just how many times people are working out, whether they're here or whether they're somewhere else. But I think as a member, you get pretty excited about that because now you're starting to see that data be useful regardless of where you're physically located. And I also think, there's great opportunity around content that these gyms can be providing to the member. I was just talking to someone the other day around, I have 15 minutes at lunch and maybe I have a quiet place. I'm going to do a 15-minute yoga session and have that content be available to me, record it and know that I did that and rate that experience so other people can see how positive that was.
I look at the site. There's a lot of information on fitmetrix.io. One of the articles, though, that really struck me here is you're a technology company, but you wrote about emotional resistance, why people do things to sabotage their success in reaching fitness goals. And I love this because, technology is one thing, but it's the intention behind the tool itself. I'd love to hear your take on, how we actually use technology for the member to win. And also in that question, how do we use technology to overcome possibly members that are sabotaging their health goals?
Yeah. So I think, the technology to help the member win is the easier part of the two questions. In my mind, we obviously have talked a lot in this last few minutes about wearable and data and that side of it. So, we know how valuable that can be. If you see that in this particular workout, you were in your proper heart rate zones based on the type of workout that you were doing, and you're doing that on a repetitive basis, a few times a week, you're going to see results. If I'm, take it a little bit beyond that, excuse me, the ability to make that process for signing up for a class just unbelievably easy. The ability to say things like, hey, I know that I really enjoy Jennifer's class and I want to take a class with her. How can I see all of the classes that Jennifer offers and, easily book myself into those? Well, let me see what other people are doing and kind of feel like I'm part of a community. So I think in a lot of ways, outside of just the wearable technology or the data that we can pull off the different pieces of fitness equipment, I think being able to leverage the gamification concepts we've spoken about and make things just super easy for that member is going to help them to win. As far as the sabotaging stuff and sort of the emotional,
that's a much bigger question.
It's definitely a tricky question, but I think at the end of the day, there's truth in data. So you can't cheat the data. So I know a lot of us, me included for sure, go to the gym and it's I'll say for me it's leg day because Lord knows how much I don't like leg day. I'm going to do as little as I possibly can to get in and out of that workout. But being able to have data, understand how I'm performing against myself, it kind of is an equalizer to prevent it. And I guess the interesting story that I have is, I can't remember who told me this, but they were telling me that they were in a cycling class and they were using the FitMetrix technology for the leaderboard. And, they saw where they were and they were really driven and they knew they were pushing themselves harder to complete the workout. And then they had taken a class at another cycling studio that did not have technology. And they came out of it and they said, there was no question that my workout experience was significantly better using the technology and using the leaderboards than when it wasn't there. Because at the end of the day, when the technology is not there, you're sort of self-regulating. When you're up on a board and there's 10 other people next to you, you kind of know, like, all right, well, the person next to me is crushing it and I'm not. You're going to push yourself harder. Everybody's going to push themselves harder. I know for me, I don't love cycling classes, which goes along with leg day, by the way. But when I do take a cycling class and I see I'm just a couple points behind the person in front of me, and I don't know who they are and I don't know how hard they're working, but I just feel like I can catch them, and I'm motivated to turn the resistance up on that bike and push myself harder to try to catch them. And you can feel it at the end of that class, and you're going to see the results. So you can't really cheat yourself.
One of the things I see too in your integrations is Perkville. We had Shunil on the podcast, and I look at the ways that we can really make people feel the space to be loyal in, right? And I think I've experienced this personally. I talked about this with Shunil. I come out of the yoga studio and I'm getting a notification that I'm literally 10 points away from getting a t-shirt. And for me, that's kind of cool. I mean, I want to get rewarded for something that I love doing anyways, which is working out, going to the gym. Why did you partner with Perkville? Was it for the loyalty aspect? What was the blend there?
Yeah, so we have a really great relationship with Chanel and the guys over at Perkville. They do a great job when it comes to loyalty, and that's how they think on a daily basis, is how can we leverage reward points to incentivize better behaviors from these folks. So from our perspective, when we look at that integration and others, we always look at, well, what is the benefit to the club, first of all, and then what's the benefit to the member. So the reason we chose to do the integration with Perkville was because we knew that it was a bit of a disjointed experience to tell the member, hey, we have a rewards program, but yeah, you got to go over to Perkville to manage that. And we felt that the experience would be much better and much more used by the member if it was, hey, we have a rewards program and you just earned 100 points for that workout you just did. And to your point, you're 500 points away from a t-shirt. And by the way, you can redeem those reward points right here in the app or right here on our website. So that was really the origination of why we wanted to do the integration. And then the integration's continuing to grow. So we're starting to see really awesome opportunities to give the member different ways to earn points that create brand loyalty and also brand awareness. So for example, via our mobile app, if you take pictures via the app, either from a workout or just in general, and you tag that gym, we push them up to Facebook or Instagram, and you can get rewarded with points for doing so. So now your evangelists, your social evangelists are really pushing your brand awareness. They're getting rewarded for doing it. So it's a huge win for the gym, and obviously the members are going to stay sticky to the brand.
In some of your copy on the website, there's mentions about not just seeing the data sets for the club so that we know, what the member's doing. There's the gamification piece. But what about the insurance companies? When we look at how insurance companies are going to use this fitness technology data, what are your thoughts on that? How is FitMetrix helping that aspect?
Right now, it's early days, right? I think, there was a big push for step counting a few years ago. Where if everyone was getting their Fitbit and whatever wearable device to say, hey, if you walk 10,000 steps in a day, and we're going to reward you for that. I think there's also gym check-ins. Certainly, I know within our own app, people can export and print their check-ins and send that off to their insurance company. But at the end of the day, the real workout data of how many calories you burned, what heart rate zones that you were getting into, and knowing how real that information is going to resonate a ton with these insurance companies. So our goal, is to be able to take that data and push that back to the carriers, push that back to the companies if they're self-insured, and then offer real incentive to the member for working hard. And I think It's interesting, when Monica and I started the company, back in 2013, her focus was very much on that boutique fitness feel, which has now obviously gone into the bigger clubs as well. And that's where that part of our platform has come from. My focus was always on the back end integrations, and the insurance was the one that I always had highlighted as, once we have enough coverage of clients and members using the system, being able to push that data back to the carriers, we just think is such a unbelievable opportunity to really help people financially, but more importantly, they're much more incentivized to go in, wear a wearable device, get real results, see these results, and have the benefit of that.
I think the relationship between personal health and insurance prices is obvious, Josh. I mean, we look at what John Hancock did a couple of years back. They introduced a program that I think they gave them vitality points. So we know that there are some really big insurance companies that are using fitness data. I think maybe one of the pieces that gets in the way here is maybe people just get, club owners specifically, they get a little confused as to how they can actually partner up with an insurance company, or how, we can partner up with medical fitness. The medical fitness aspect, has that been something that you've ever looked into for any synergy there? How do you think FitMetrix will plug into the medical fitness space?
Yeah, so we do have some clients in that space. Primarily we're focused on fitness clubs, but we do have clients both in the medical side and in the corporate side. I do think it's going to grow. I think that your point about the gyms sort of saying, well, I'm not sure how to kind of get in the middle of this. The reality is, if there's an ability for that member through the gym's app or website to opt in to say, yes, I would like to push my data back out, and their carrier or their company's hooked in through a technology provider like us or whoever, that's what's going to help the gyms ultimately make it very easy. And then they can go out to those corporations in their local market and say, hey, listen, we've got this huge benefit now that we can send this real data back, which is now incentivizing the members. And then to your point of that direct correlation of, wellness and insurance premiums, I think it's going to make their lives a lot easier. So that's definitely an area that we're looking into and focusing on for 2018.
Josh, love the nuances in this conversation, just thinking about how do we really use technology for the member to win. We've brought up the gamification. We've also talked about the integration with other loyalty programs. There's many different pieces. I feel like we're scratching the surface here. Everyone can go to fitmetrix.io. But this is the last part of the show. This is 6 questions. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Running a health club can be hard. Can you share one of the most difficult times maybe you've experienced in your career that a club owner or an operator can relate to?
Well, just with our own business, scaling of employees, right? You're growing and you're at that kind of critical point of you need to bring on the right people to manage the business and take yourself a little bit removed from it, but you still want to keep the reputation that you have as a business and make sure customer service is still the most critical aspect of that. So that's always a very tricky spot to get into. And I got to believe every club owner goes through that at some point where everyone knows the owner of the club, but it's really making sure he can count on or she can count on her team.
The aspect of teaching from mentorship, the way that we learn from others is a big deal, not just in fitness, but in any industry. Your father seems to have been a big influence on you. He was an entrepreneur himself. What's one of the biggest lessons that he taught you?
He used to have an expression, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I kind of agree with that. So I'm a big proponent of working very smart. But also, if you're going to, put in the time and do what you need to do, then you're going to have the success that you want to get out of it.
Is there a book, Josh, that you gift to other people the most?
It's funny. I don't read that much lately because I'm working too much. So no.
What's top of mind for you when we look at 2018 business practices or the use of tech that can help the medium-sized fitness businesses?
So I think one of the advantages of a software as a service provider like FitMetrix, or you mentioned Perkville, some of us, is we help to bring scale to the medium-sized businesses. So we're investing in what we do really well, and others are as well. And so they don't have to make these giant investments in technology that they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford, and they can get the benefit of it to run their own business.
When things get challenging for you, what is your fire inside? What is your ethos that you get fuel from when challenges come up, as they do for all of us? Is there something that you go to, almost like a personal ethos that you rely on?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times I have this conversation with the folks in my office. When you have an inside job and you're dealing with support or those types of things, you're always getting those challenges and those types of things. So I always think about those satisfying moments when the customer saw functionality that they said, oh my God, this is game changing for our business. So I'm always driven by the fact that we're innovative, we continue to push forward, and the customers realize that there's opportunity to leverage the technology, and they're very appreciative of it. So that's really where I usually go.
Josh, we sit now at probably the most powerful time between fitness and tech. We're here at this intersection. What does this mean to you? What are the new possibilities that exist right now for better health and the bottom line for fitness businesses?
So I think it's such a fun time. I came out of retail and e-commerce, and we obviously know where retail is these days. It's a very tough place to be, but over those years, there's retailers that have gotten very smart at how to market to their customers and how to get them to come back and so forth. And I think it's so exciting for me to see some of those concepts now coming into the fitness space, whether it's through technology or whether it's through marketing opportunities or social channels or anything else. But I just think that the gyms and the studios are now becoming much more open-minded about the opportunity to leverage technology to create a better member experience. And I mean, that's just how we think and how I think on a personal level when I go to the gym every morning. So I'm really, really excited to see what happens over the next couple of years, because I think a couple of years from now is going to look completely different than it even does today.
I agree, and FitMetrix.io is the site. Josh, we talked about technology and members winning. Is there anything we missed? Is there any parting guidance you can give to our audience listening?
I think we covered a lot of ground. I definitely think there's continued room for growth in this part of the space. And, we're excited. We have some new stuff coming out next year that we'll be announcing prior to IRSA. And I just think that the members are going to continue to win the more that technology evolves. And we just hope to be at the forefront of that as much as we can.
Josh Lloyd, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Josh. It was a pleasure.
The merging of the inside data and outside club data is more important in 2018 than before. Josh believes that smart data from treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, and other cardio pieces can be used to tailor the member experience by tying them into a deeply functional tracking solution. By getting the information from the members' exercise sessions while in the club, proactive fitness facilities can now reach more of an emotional context for motivation by delivering detailed and actionable incentives to members. Josh speaks to the power of using leaderboards to drive more members to a successful health journey. At the end of the day, when technology is not there, you're self-regulating. When a member's stats are up on a leaderboard at the same time of the people next to them, they're going to push themselves harder, and everyone's going to push themselves harder, which creates a more dynamic class experience that they'll tell their friends about. When we view the power of wearables in creating a true ecosystem that is built for the member to win, clubs that partner with insurance companies and medical fitness organizations will now start to rise above their competitors as we look towards 2018 with more tools, technology, and the need for programs that reward people at their deepest needs. Thank you for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. Here's a quick message from Brian O'Rourke.
Hello, everyone. This is Brian O'Rourke. Thanks for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. I also want to extend our thanks to Josh and the many, many wonderful professionals who've contributed their time and expertise for free for the health club and fitness industry at large. Wouldn't you like your fitness brand, product, or service to be featured on a podcast like this? I know I would. And that's why the Fitness Industry Technology Council, myself, and our companies like Moon Mission Media, Videri Ventures, and Vertimax, among others, have been underwriting the podcast for the last 9 months. Check the show notes for details and consider becoming a sponsor. It's a great way to reach thousands of industry professionals in the fitness and health club space and be a part of educating people on technology adoption and all the opportunities it's going to provide. So please consider joining us here at the podcast, and we look forward to the many series of podcasts ahead. Thanks so much.